Here is episode 7 of the History of MTWS. Last time I left off, I talked about the 2012 season and what at the time was the final season of MTWS, which turned out to not be the case. But of course, I gotta talk about 2013, the year in between what originally was going to be the end of MTWS to its revival in 2014. So let's get into this. This should be not too long of an episode too. So when we last left off, it was February of 2013, and the end of MTWS, as I had to permanently shelf it, as I couldn't do the series with life needs and all, as I mentioned the 2012 season, and of course it was fitting too for Outlaw to sweep Race and Freestyle. So of course, it sucked too. It was really boring, because I mean, think of it, 4 years almost now I've been running MTWS. And it felt weird, like coming around to February, March, when I'd be usually making the trucks, debuting them in March, and then making the schedule in April and all that, and getting everything ready, yada yada yada, and all that crap. But it just never happened. And now, in March of 2013, like a week before World Finals 14, we did move from where we used to live in Woodlawn to the Eastern Shore of Maryland, where I'm at today. So that was a hectic moment in my life. And of course, job search, of course, even worse down here, led to nothing. But of course, I still couldn't really continue on MTWS as much to my chagrin. But I did actually get some free time again to eventually consider maybe bringing MTWS back, not as this season in 2013, but as a couple events throughout the year. Then came April 2013, and as I've done the previous 4 Aprils, I would now reveal the 2013 MTWS season schedule. And I finally decided I was going to do 3 events, and since there were 3 of them throughout the year, I would have plenty of time to work on in case if I had a job or whatever along the way. So it was set up perfectly for me for the year, perhaps. So there would be just 3 events. The first one would be in London, UK, on June 15th, which of course would be another international series. The 5th country MTWS has gone to, and of course to represent my 5th year anniversary of being on YouTube. The second event would be on my 20th B-Day in Las Vegas, which also was going to be a part series with B-Day World Finals 20, of which I revived after 3 years away, being both done the same day, the B-Day World Finals 20th and then MTWS in Las Vegas. And then finally, the final event would be on Christmas Day in Baltimore. June 2013 finally came as it was time for MTWS's debut in London. And of course, this event was actually kind of unique. Not only was it the first time we were here, not only was it the first event in June, not only was it the first pit party event I had in years, but it was also the first event where I started to change up the formula of how I filmed MTWS. I've mentioned how I did it in 2009, but in 2013, I got my hands on a new program, Sony Vegas Pro, which allowed me to put the videos side by side in racing and add a countdown clock in freestyle, which beforehand I had to film the runs, then put them on QuickTime, and then film them all together and all, which was really annoying. And freestyle, I did not have the ability to do a timer. I would just say exactly when the time and bonus time would end. But this time I was able to do it, and I took full advantage of that in the 2013 London event. EU and CCCP come off the top of my head. Of course, Lights Out, Overdrive, Air Rage, trucks I made back in 2012 finally got their competition debut. And in this 24-field event with some champions and some other great driving trucks, the Monster Razor surprisingly got the #1 qualifier in the end. And racing had a whole bunch of crazy things happen, including Outlaw in its first race as the new champion of racing, losing to Destroyer in round 2, as Destroyer at the time was called the championship killer for a reason. But in the end, the finals was Crush and Run, the truck that was runner-up for the racing title, going up against Overdrive, surprisingly. The truck that's made its first ever competition made it all the way to the finals. Both trucks would drive hard, but in the end, it would be Overdrive, stunning everyone. Not only beating Crush and Run but blowing it out too, to become the first ever truck in MTWS history to win an event not as an official truck. It competed just for this event effectively. Well, it competed a couple other events, but you get what I'm saying. It was not one of the trucks that were made for MTWS and actually won racing, surprisingly. Freestyle, on the other hand, started off slow as a bunch of trucks struggled. EU came out first and was one and done effectively, got a 6 or 7. Air Rage came out but flipped early as well, only got a 13. CCCP decided to be more cautious and ended up getting a 24. It took a couple trucks before they finally started to get used to the track, and then near the middle of the field, Patriot would come out and put up an incredible run and took the lead with a 32, which at the time I believe was the highest scoring run it ever had. There were many more highlights, including Ye Plunder debuting its new paint, doing a crazy crossbeam sideways hit on the step up and actually ripped out the rear end. Aquatic Beast also put up a great run in its new paint job before flipping over early as well. For the next bunch of trucks, we would have some incredible highlights, but also trucks flipping way too early as well, including Overdrive going for a double down, flipped way too early in its double down attempt. Eventually, Wild Ride would take the lead, but then the big guns started to come out. MTWS flipped too early. Shatter put up an incredible run and actually took the lead with a 37. Mad Dog would be strong but fell short with a 35. Crazy had an incredible run and tried to go for the backflip, but ended up getting a massive sky wheelie and crushing the rear on top of the tabletop, which was an incredible run and good enough to take the lead with a 42. Finally, last up was Outlaw, the defending freestyle champion, but unfortunately, the bad luck continued for Outlaw as it would flip too early and only getting an 11 to end its night, as the defended champs not looking good at its first showing. But the night wasn't over, as we had a nice encore where we had both Turbo Blaze and Terra Voltage. Remember, they were Team Pokemon in their final showing, as Black 2 and White 2 already been out and we were getting ready for X and Y that fall. And I also made the Cheerios truck as a backlash response to the racism of an interracial couple in a Cheerios ad at the time, so I wanted to do that as well. But it was a nice debut in London, and hope to eventually come back there one day in the future. Then it was October of 2013. What a hectic month it was, as I had to spend all of September 2 working on this, both B-Day World Finals 20th and MTWS in Las Vegas, returning back after almost a year away. And this event would have a lot more new trucks that I made over that summer period, and of course into 2012 as well. It was a lot more debuts too, as made Backflip Insanity to make its debut, Demolution, and of course to represent X and Y, which just came out a few weeks after this event came out, X-Tacular and Y-Tastic to represent the new Team Pokemon. For Locomotion, who I made in 2012, would make its debut in competition. Iron Wing, my original truck I made online, that made its first competition debut since 2009. And I also made a special paint for it in this event as well. And then, oh boy, to top it off, as the freaking otaku that I am, I made a shit ton of anime trucks. Some of these debuted in 2012 as well, but of course I made them on here as well. High School DxD, Haneko, HOTD, Haganai, To Love Ru, Oreimo, all these incredible anime, well except HOTD pretty much, that I watched from like 2010 to 2013, and I made their trucks in the game. And of course, this one felt really special. I finally made Monster Mag, which if you remember in the first series episode of the History of MTWS, I talked about it. I took one of my toy monster trucks, broke the wheels off, and I put it underneath a toy McDonald's truck, and that's how I made my first truck, Monster Mag. And in MTM2, I made as close to possible as I could as it was in real life. But unfortunately at the time, Vegas Pro had a trial, and the trial ran out, and I could not get it back at the time, and I had no way to crack it at the time. So unfortunately, I had to go back to the original ways of filming MTWS on QuickTime and all that. But with all that out of the way, we got to the event, and Haganai, one of the anime trucks, ended up getting the #1 qualifier, edging out Nitro again, as this was the second Vegas event in a row where Nitro did not get the #1 qualifier. And how fitting it would be for these two to be the top 2 qualifiers, as going into the semifinals, we had Outlaw and Nitro, 2 of the biggest racers in MTWS. 2 of the free racing titles, well, technically 4 of the 2 belong to these 2 in the semifinals. But we also had 2 anime trucks. Haganai and High School DxD made here. It was unbelievable. Nitro would beat High School DxD, but in an upset, Haganai would beat Outlaw. So the finals was set. Haganai, an anime truck, going up against Nitro. Now, were we going to have the same situation like we had in London 4 months ago, where an unofficial truck won it? Nope. It would be Nitro that would win it, as it would rank up its undefeated streak in Vegas to 16-0. 4 straight racing wins it got in Vegas. Freestyle began with, oh geez, first it would be Monster Mac, who would put up an incredible run, but then you would have all the anime trucks back to back to back. But in the end, the 4th truck out there, High School DxD of the anime trucks, would put up an incredible run and would take the early lead with a 35, including getting the maximum 5 bonus points in bonus time. And in the end, numerous trucks over and over again tried to get the lead, including Haneko, who came right after High School DxD, put up an incredible run, but it wasn't enough. Later on in freestyle, we had the first ever tandem freestyle in MTWS between Team Pokemon, Xtacular and Y-tastic. They both pretty much weren't trying to win freestyle, since they were both freestyle at the same time, not to hit each other. It was more choreographed, and of course it wasn't enough for any of them to win. Overdrive, who came out before Team Pokemon, would actually get stuck on top of the step up. But then right after that, after Team Pokemon, it would be Eruption, the hometown truck who, remember, won the last 2 freestyles here in Vegas, and it was going to go for 3rd in a row, and it was going to start off its freestyle by going right for Overdrive on top of Step Up, and it went for it and knocked it down, but right afterwards it went for the triple and ended up going off the side and front flipping and went over, and it's run way too early to prevent a 3rd win. More trucks came out. MTWS, Iron Wing, no one could beat High School DxD. Badass came out, put up an incredible freestyle, but in the end was just not enough, as it was only a 33. We then had the veterans, Nitro going for trying to get a freestyle win, would fall short with a 31. And then both Crazy and Outlaw would fall short with a 23 and 27 respectively, as Outlaw would actually get stuck into the side of the racing lane. So High School DxD not only would be another unofficial truck to win an event, but how about that? I believe that still this day, the longest time in the hot seat to win freestyle. It lasted 20 trucks. It was in the lead for 20 trucks, which, like I said, I believe that's the longest in MTWS history anyone has been in the hot seat, and the longest time anyone had won freestyle stay in the hot seat that long. That was incredible. But the night wasn't over, as we got to an encore, as we start off with Watamote, which was another anime truck for an anime that aired in the fall of 2013. I started watching. I made the truck right before the event was scheduled to end. And of course, Ranex Rio, which was an Aerogate truck somewhat, but not quite, between 2 characters I liked in Deerdrops and Edelweiss. And finally, Z-Mazen, which was, of course, remember Z, which was supposed to be the sister game for X and Y we all thought was going to happen. I decided to make that for the final part of the encore, and only for it to flip early to end the night off. And then, to finally wrap up the year, would be in Baltimore on Christmas Day, as it was an incredible track I made, and at the time, it was going to be the biggest field in MTWS history. 32 trucks, because remember, the upcoming World Finals was going to have 32 trucks, so I decided, hey, why not give it a try myself, 32 trucks, to see how it would do. And of course, as another special event, I had to make more trucks for the event, as I made Xmas Special, but I also would bring back some more trucks too, as I brought Ran X Rio out for the event, with an updated paint and all. And then I would bring Iron Wing out with a new Maryland-themed paint, which was really cool. But then I brought out 2 old trucks I made back in 2009. First, Iron Wing Tank, as you all remember. I brought that out, and of course, I had to add invisible tires onto the truck, the tank I mean to say, for it to do backflips on that track. Otherwise, every time I tried to go backflip, it would just instantly flip itself back over during the mid-process of the flip. So I had to add invisible tires and make a special backflip version for that. And then I brought back Speedy, which was a truck I made in 2009, gave it updated tires and all, for it to compete ever for the first time ever. And in qualifying, how fitting it would be Iron Wing, the former really good racing truck of mine, would get the #1 qualifier. And once again, Outlaw would continue to struggle as the defending racing champion, losing in round 1, surprisingly. But then we got to the semifinals where we could have had Iron Wing versus Iron Wing Tank. That would have been incredible, but that didn't happen as they were stopped by Team Pokemon. Yep, it would be X-Tacular and Y-Tastic in the 1 semifinals matchup, where Y-Tastic would get the win, followed by Fireball would knock off Bling, which set up the finals between Y-Tastic and Fireball. And once again, for the 3rd straight show of 2013, a non-official MTWS truck, I mean to say, Y-Tastic would get the win. And just like in London, Freestyle would start off short. Speedy had no momentum whatsoever in its run, but filled it still. Ran X Real flipped early. It would be the 3rd truck, Iron Wing Tank, would put up an incredible run to start off with a 32 to start the night. How about that? A monster truck event for probably the first time ever a monster tank competed and excelled in freestyle, including landing a backflip. Iron Wing Tank's 32 would last many trucks, like over a quarter of the field, but eventually would fall to Demolition, who would put up a sick, incredible freestyle to take the lead with a 37 with still half of freestyle to go. Demolition got lucky as Fireball 2 trucks later would put up a incredible run but fall short of a 35. And then of course X-Tacular and Y-Tastic were originally going to do a tandem freestyle again, but with Y-Tastic winning racing, I figured it would be better for it to go out single. That way it would have a better shot of getting the double down. It would not get the double down, but it most certainly would put up an incredible freestyle, including a spectacular flip in the end, one of the craziest flips in MTWS history. Right after Y-Tastic, MTWS would come out and once again struggle in freestyle like it did all year. And then right afterwards, it would be Impala. And it's this show right here in my eyes, I think Impala showed its beginning of becoming the freestyle king. This run right here was absolutely incredible, even though it ended up not filling the entire run. But this run in my eyes is what launched Impala to become the freestyle king next year. Several more trucks came out, and then finally, Thunderbolt, the 2011 freestyle champion, showed why it was the former champ, put up a spectacular run, and finally put up a run that was enough to take the lead with a 39. But we still had several more trucks to go. But in the end, Eliminator flipped it too early, Shatter flipped too early, Iron Wing, of course, flipped too early as it struggled all year in freestyle. All that was left was Nitro, Crazy, and Outlaw. Nitro tried its best, but just flipped too early. Crazy did an incredible run, but fell to 3rd place with a 36. And then finally, Outlaw, who struggled all year in freestyle, finally put up an incredible run as defending freestyle champion and would take the lead and the win with a 40. What an incredible run that was, and what an incredible finale to wrap up the year. There would be no encore to wrap up the final event, as I just had nothing else left to give. Plus, I was kind of in a hurry to get the event up. Plus, it was around this time when I got my new desktop computer, which I'm still using to this day, making this video and all. And I needed to get to work on making that and all my stuff to that computer. But of course, as 2013 continued on, I realized something was coming up very soon. It was something that I never thought back in 2009 when I began this series that I would get to this far, but I did. And 2014 was the beginning of the 5th anniversary. And I knew I was going to have to go all out to celebrate this, and that's when I decided that maybe 2014 for the 5th anniversary, maybe I could come back. But that, my friends, is another story for the next episode, where I will talk about the 2014 5th anniversary MTWS season and all the hectic crap that I had to go through to come back to MTWS. But hey, at least MTWS, after that unfortunate non-existent 2013 season, did manage to come back in the end for 2014. And how did that season turn out? Well, you'll have to tune in next time. So I hope you all enjoyed hearing about the 2013 season. And see you guys in episode 8, where I talk about the 2014 season.